Hello, my name is Maziel, Valley Maker, Commandment Breaker, a trembling sculptor chiseling scripture into soft earth that never asked to be holy. I built Fall Valley the way lonely children built dull houses, slowly, obsessively, breath fogging the plastic windows, telling themselves that if the rooms were perfect, the silence would finally sit beside them and behave. For a while, it did, but houses do not love, towns do not forgive, and children see the seams where the world was stitched too tightly. My wife died before the gates ever opened. Her name became a word I could not pronounce without tasting blood, so I buried her in sermons and stove-top prayers and liquor that burned like counterfeit salvation, baptizing my throat until it rusted with hallelujahs that meant nothing. I became a pastor, not of Christ, no. I pastored the echo inside my own skull, a gospel carved from my tongue, scriptures sewn together with guilt thread and ego needle, a church balanced delicately atop the shaking ribs of a man afraid of empty rooms. They listened. They trusted. They leaned forward when I spoke, as if my voice were honey dripping from a wound. But prophets rot eventually, even the ones who invent their own heavens. That morning, the church smelled faintly of dust and warm wax. The sunlight came in sideways, like it had taken a wrong turn. Myra sat in the front booth, bare feet, legs swinging, humming something that did not belong to any hymn I had ever written. It was too soft, too innocent, a melody without doctrine, a song that existed without me inside it. Something cracked in my chest, like stained glass buckling inward under invisible pressure. "Silence, child!" I whispered, but the whisper came out as a hiss. Not a father's voice, but a frightened God terrified of being forgotten by his own creation. The congregation saw. They always see in the exact moment you believe you are invisible. They saw the wet fraud dripping from my teeth, saw the man behind the prophet, saw the hollow pulpit wearing a human face. They left me there, followed out like mourners, leaving a grave that never held a body. I blamed Myra. Of course I did. False prophets are allergic to mirrors. We prefer sacrifices. At home, the refrigerator light hummed like a hospital machine. Inside sat one last sacrament, a beer bottle, cold as a widow's hand, sweating quietly, patiently, as if it knew it would be the final thing I believed in. I drank until the world tilted sideways, until the walls leaned like tired parishioners, until I regret tasting metallic and familiar. Myra was watching her favorite movie, Alice in Wonderland. Blue light washed over her face, turning her into a flickering ghost of herself. "Dad, please don't." Her voice was a thread. I was all ready, but it was already done. I did not hear the rest, only heard the glass shatter, that brittle, crystalline scream, and then the wet, soft sound of something small collapsing into permanent quiet. The room did not react. The couch did not move. The television continued smiling in colors that were too bright for what had just happened. I left her there, sat down, watched whatever came on next, learned in that moment that guilt can be muted if you press the right invisible button behind your eyes. When I finally returned, she was upright, still, too still, holding my gun in both shaking hands like a prop she had rehearsed with in secret. "Bang," she whispered gently, as if copying a cartoon's idea of death, as if death were something you could imitate and then undo in the next episode. Then she folded inward, small body, collapsing like a dying star that realized too late it was only made of paper. Grief struck me, yes, but it arrived late. Like a guest who had the wrong address, it slammed into my ribs, knocked the air out, and before tears could form, the television flickered. A grin stretched across the black screen, not drawn, not animated, something that leaked. The Cheshire cat bled out of the television like spilled ink deciding to become flesh. First the head, only the head, floating, smiling, watching me the way surgeons watch open chests. Then the body slid free, joints bending where joints were never given permission to bend, limbs unfolding with the soft, wet noise of something remembering how to be alive incorrectly. "Oh, Maziel," it purred, voice syrupy and wrong. "Creator of valleys and graves, how sweetly you crumble." How is this? You're not real. I built this town. I built everything. You built the world, yes," it said, tilting its head until the angle painful to look at, but you never built yourself. Its eyes opened wider, wider, until they looked like yellow sores blooming on the face of reality. She hummed because she still believed in you. Isn't that deliciously tragic? Shut up! Tell me, prophet, it continued, grin trembling like a wound, trying not to laugh. How does it feel to be out-profited by your own child? Shut up! His limbs stretched longer, until they resembled pulled wires vibrating in empty air. Its head snapped sideways, then twisted, then rotated upside down until the neck popped softly. A fruit crushed underfoot. A new head bloomed instantly, smiling the same smile, as if pain were merely a costume change. Bang, a mimicked voice, now small, almost gentle. Children always learn their language from their fathers. Cold paws, no, not paws. Curtains of shadow shaped like paws closed around me. They smelled like dust and old stories, and everything folded inward, and I was pulled into the screen. Wonderland. Wonderland was not what Myra saw. Wonderland was what remained after her version died. The sky hung too low, like a ceiling tired of pretending to be infinite. Trees leaned toward me with branches that multiplied when I wasn't looking. Grass whispered names that belonged to versions of me I had already killed. In the distance, the white rabbit stumbled forward, huge, towering, fur patchy, molting in slow motion, revealing gray skin beneath that pulsed like something thinking. I'm late! I'm late! I'm late! A shrieked voice stitched together with static and regret. Oh dear! Oh dear! I couldn't see Myra shoot herself. I was too late! Too late! Too late! It reached me in 3 steps that did not obey distance. It's your fault she died, isn't it? No, believe me, laughter behind me. Soft, lazy, poisonous. Maziel, the cat sighed, appearing without arriving. My prophet of rot. Don't lie in a land without clocks. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tick. A massive clock materialized above us, its hands frozen at the exact second Myra's body folded. The second replayed silently in the glass face, over and over, a private apocalypse on loop. Then it fell. It shattered into white dust that tasted like bone. From the dust crawled the caterpillar, but swollen, dripping, its body rearranging itself constantly like melting wax, attempting to remember its original shape. It reached me, touched my skin with soft tendrils that burned. My flesh dissolved politely like sugar surrendering to rain. I died there, slowly, painfully. Wonderland humming a lullaby that used my daughter's voice. I woke up, sitting upright. Something was tight around my head, warm, wet, carved. A pumpkin, hollowed, its inner walls slick against my cheeks, seeds clinging like soft teeth. The eye holes cut too small, forcing the world into narrow, suffocating frames. I was back in Fall Valley, but Fall Valley was no longer pretending to be real. I could feel Wonderland breathing behind every wall, its lungs expanding inside the houses, its pulse ticking inside the church bell, its grin stretched thin across every window reflection. Now I speak in riddles, in reversals, and sermons that unwrite themselves as I preach them. I'm Maziel, a pastor of a town stitched to a dream that does not want to wake. Prophet of the broken clock, father of the humming child who only exists when I close my eyes, and I must gather others, more believers, more prophets, more children who can see the seams because I have already met them, long before they arrived. I saw them in the past, standing at the edge of the valley, faces blurred, hands folded, waiting patiently for me to finish, building a place where they will eventually be trapped forever.